Good afternoon. My presentation will be on the country of Mongolia. I'll discuss a couple of the basic statistics, introductions, stereotypes, history, just to name a few. Here's a list of the contents that you'll find in my presentation. And first, we'll discuss the statistics, such as the basic statistics, the flag, etc. Mongolia's capital is called Ulaanbaatar. Excuse me if I mispronounce it. The language is Mongolian. The population is approximately 3.5 million. The area is about 603,000 square miles. It's a very large country. It has a very low population density. The population density is the number of people per unit of area, usually per square kilometer or square mile. It is roughly around 2 people per square kilometer. In comparison, the US is 38 people per square kilometer. 70% of the population, they live in 5% of Mongolian land. The Mongolian flag was adopted in 1992 after the Communist Party was overthrown. A couple of representations. The red will represent the wealth, advancement, and the energy of the people. The blue represents the blue sky, an essential element to the culture. Yellow represents wisdom and compassion, reflecting the Buddhist heritage. The flame on here will represent prosperity, progress, and achievement. The sun and moon are the cosmos and the repeating cycles of life. Yin yang are opposing forces in nature's triangles and bars are the energy of the universe and nature. So, look, Mongolia's location, it's located between Russia and China. Both Russia and China will have very heavy influences in the culture, as you'll be able to see. A short introduction. Mongolia is a nomadic lifestyle, which means that people move from place to place instead of living in a fixed location in search of resources like food, water, and/or pasture for livestock. It has a nomadic pastoralism, which means the Mongols were primarily a nomadic pastoral society, and their society structure was adapted to this way of life. The culture is rich in music, dance, and art. Some animals The animals in Mongolia, they provide food and transport. The Mongols raise horses, cattle, goats, sheep, and camel. The gur or yurt is a type of tent meant to be easily taken down in order to easily move, which goes back to the nomadic lifestyle. They have to be on the go. Horsemanship. Mongols are exceptional horse riders. Horses are a part of their daily lives. Family and community, there's a strong emphasis on cooperation and mutual support. We'll talk about stereotypes next. There's a lot of stereotypes behind the Mongolians that they live a nomadic lifestyle to this day, that they live off the land, they ride horses, and they have an outdated lifestyle. There's no culture, that Mongolia is a barren wasteland with people struggling to find food. Regarding the people themselves, there's stereotypes about how they are vicious warriors, that they are violent, and they're poor and barely surviving. In addition, a fun fact, Mulan's characters were actually not Mongolian, they were Huns. So just to let you know. A couple more stereotypes that I found doing research. Suki, and I'm not going to pronounce it, Tes Bejak. 2023 mentioned other common stereotypes. The land is from a secret, distant society, isolated and secluded, assumptions of its political standing, an oppressed nation, at the least developed nation. There are stereotypes about how Mongols live and their beliefs. So this is all due, in my opinion, to a lack of information. Talk about that next. Breaking stereotypes. 70% of the population live in cities, primarily the capital, Ulaanbaatar. There exist Gur districts, which is like a place, as you can see on the bottom left corner. Well, the pictures. The Gur districts outside of major cities where people live in communities. It includes public wells, public bathhouses, and pit toilets. It has a thriving economy. The land is filled with precious minerals such as coal, copper, and gold. The culture is a mixture of Buddhism, shamanism, and animism. There are monk monasteries, art, music, and performing arts. The Gurts are simple in nature, but they can be beautiful. So here you'll see some of the traditional women. This one here is a picture of the city. Right underneath is a picture of inside one of the gurt or yurts, which is the tent that we spoke about. And this picture here is the Gur district. So the people that don't live inside the city, they live right on the outskirts where it's a lot of people living together in a community. There's a very rich history for Mongolians. It has to do with nomads. Genghis Khan is a big part of it. So, a quick history, nomads are a member of a people having no permanent abode and who travel from place to place to find fresh pasture for their livestock. They move around several times a year to escape poor weather. The culture says that people should follow the direction of nature. We are interrelated and must love and respect each other, which has to do with animism. The weather, terrain, and nomadic lifestyle, there are deserts and little rain. Overpasteurizing is one main reason for the nomadic lifestyle, constantly looking for grazing land for animals. Now, about Genghis Khan. He is one of the main reasons why Mongols are so popular. His name was Temujin. Genghis Khan was given to him. It means universal leader. The Mongol Empire continued to expand even after Genghis Khan's death, and it was ruled by his descendant. He was very famous for, let me see, where was I? For unifying different Mongolian tribes. They conquered more than 10 million square miles. He was the most successful military commander. He's considered the greatest conqueror, even better than the Roman Empire. At first started because an opposing tribe kidnapped his wife and he wanted to get her back. After that, he realized he was a great warrior and great at pulling people together and continued to do so. He engaged in brutal warfare and, developed some of the Earth's most unstoppable warrior. This was mostly brought on because of corruption of the imperial families and the court, bribing and hoarding riches, ignoring the survival of the people. This is a map of the Mongol Empire started by Genghis Khan. As you can see on here, let me take a look. Let me see. It covered roughly 9 million square miles from East Asia to Eastern Europe. It was founded by Genghis Khan. After his death, it was taken over by his children. The empire existed from 13th century to the late 14th century. The empire fell due to internal and external issues. Some of the internal struggles were fragmentation of the empire, and externally, the rise of local powers and the Black Death, which was a plague. Mhm. Now here's a timeline of the history of Mongolia. The Mongolians have fought very hard to find their independence. They have suffered a lot and gone through many rulers, monarchs, and communisms. They finally achieved democracy through many years of valiant effort, but it's been a struggle, uphill struggle. In regards to the languages, 95% of the population speak Mongolian. There exists a variety of different dialects across the country. Some Turkish languages, I'm not going to be able to pronounce that. Kazakh and Tuvan, spoken in the West. English, Russian, and Korean are also spoken. Regarding religions, 50% of the Mongolians are Buddhist. It's a religion based on the teachings of Siddhartha, Gautama, and the Buddha. Buddhists believe in reincarnation of the soul and want to achieve enlightenment or nirvana. Approximately 2.5 are shamans. They're not a religion, but a spiritual practice that uses altered states to interact with the spirit world for different purposes. Healing ritual ceremonies, shamans are healers and guides. Approximately 7 to 10% are Islam. A monotheistic religion centered on the belief of the God Allah and the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad. 50% report no religion, and animism is a small percentage. Belief that everything, whether animals, humans, are given a soul, belief that everything is interconnected. This dates back to the Mongol origins, very far back. We'll talk about holiday celebrations. Okay. The first one being the Nadam Festival, roughly around July 11th to 13th. Nadam, translating to games, it was used to train soldiers for battle. But now, in times of peace, it symbolizes peace and the spirit of unity. It is used to pass on the culture to future generations. Um, there's something called the Three Games of Men, which are three traditional games played: horse racing, wrestling, and archery, being the most popular ones. Then there's Zagansar, which is the lunar New Year. It marks the new year according to the solar calendar, also marks the beginning of the spring season, which is a big deal because of the harvest. It's celebrated by having a lavish feast with friends and family that takes days to prepare. This year it was the 1st of March. It is originally celebrated in spring. We'll talk about some traditional clothing, the deal, and the importance of clothing for the Mongolian culture. So the deal. It is a symbol of Mongolian identity and culture worn during festivals and celebrations. It reflects social status and is highly symbolic. It is a long garment for men and women, often has a sash, belt, hats, and boots. The material can be made from cotton, silk, and wool. It's very symbolic. It varies in style due to social status and the tribe that one belongs to, as well as the occasion and the weather. So, as you can probably um, see here, the fancier the deal, the better material, it represents a better social status. Some information I came across while doing research. Choi et al. 2022 confirms that clothing represents the psychological closeness of clothing to identity. The study brings to light that millennial women use their clothes as a representation of their culture. Clothes play a vital role in identity. So basically, it's saying that we use our clothes to externally identify us. And with that as well, we use it as an internal validation. It's very important to society and the customs in Mongolia. Now we'll talk about some foods. Here's a couple of basics about foods. The Mongolian food primarily consists of meat, animal fats, dairy products. The meat is usually like mutton, beef, camel, sheep, and horse. Side dishes are usually rice, noodles, pasta, and soup. This dish is called a booz, which are dumplings filled with meat, onion, garlic, and seasonings. I'm not going to pronounce this properly. Kushur. So similar to the booze, which was previously mentioned, but it is fried. It's usually served with a salad. This one was the most interesting to me. It's called a budog, a traditional Mongolian barbecue. The meat is usually goat. It is cooked with hot stones from inside the carcass. It's a special meal made in special occasions because it takes so long to make. Um, Basically, they dig a hole in the ground and they get it really hot. They heat up stones, prepare the carcass, and it cooks from inside. And as you can see on the picture, there's like potatoes and vegetables that are placed inside. It's um it's a luxury because it takes so long. Mongolia's imports and exports are listed on the slide. A couple of imports brought in from abroad are, well, the imports come from China, Russia, Japan, South Korea, and the US. Things like machinery, equipment, consumer goods, electrical appliances, some things that come out of Mongolia and sent to other countries are coal, copper, ores, natural and cultured stones, jewelry, textiles, hides, and skins. These exports are usually sent to China, Switzerland, Singapore, South Korea, and Russia. Now, regarding political views, prior to 1192, Mongolian was a socialist regime. The constitution was enacted on January 13th, 1992. It is now the highest law in the land, just like the Constitution of the US. The Constitution gives citizens the right of freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, and a right to a fair trial. All citizens are equal in the eyes of the law. The Prime Minister of Mongolia is the leader of Mongolia, appointed by the president. He serves a 4-year term. They have a judicial branch. All are selected by the judicial general council. The executive branch is led by the president. The legislative branch, aka the state general Kurao, holds 76 members elected to create laws and provide budget and bills. And the judicial branch is independent from the previous two branches, interpreting laws and preserving justice. Now we'll talk about music, such as the throat singing and the long song, as well as a couple of musical instruments. Mongolian throat singing is producing multiple pitches simultaneously. It's a unique aspect of their culture. And then there's the long song. Every syllable is extended for a very long time. There's a couple, just a very few of Mongolians' musical instruments. Keep in mind that the musical instruments that Mongolia has are usually originate from very far back in time. So they use a lot of natural products like natural resources, camel hides. I think this third one has like a snake skin, something like that. We'll start off with the Morin Hur. I might mispronounce that, which is the national instrument. It's a bowed string instrument. It has a beautiful carved horse head for folk songs and dances. The second one is the stringed scyther. Uh, the right hand, you use it to pluck the strings. The left hand applies pressure to the strings. Somewhat similar, it kind of reminds me of a guitar, but obviously very different. There's the shans, which is a 3-stringed plucked lute. Very beautiful. And lastly, there is the bishkur, which is a metal trumpet with ornamental decorations. And you can't see it in this picture, but usually the decorations are very detailed and very beautiful. Mongolia prides itself on its history, and sports are a reflection of that. We'll talk about that. Wrestling is one of the oldest sports. Now, it's not limited to men. Women are excellent at wrestling as well. The goal is to get the opponent to touch his upper body, knee, or elbow to the ground. So basically, like submit them. I've heard elsewhere that Genghis Khan actually used wrestling as a very important manner in which he kept his warriors very healthy, very active at all times. So yeah, wrestling is huge to Mongolians, and they use it as one of their main sports. Archery. Archery is a sport that has been played since the 11th century. It's played standing or on a horse, and again, this dates back to ancient Mongolia, where archery is and was essential to survival. To They have to be able to hunt. This one. This one is called yak polo. Which is basically the regular sport polo, but it's played on yaks instead of horses. I have a picture of the yak polo and a picture of the yak. Okay, now most popular would be horse racing. One very popular activity is the Mongol Derby, the toughest and the longest horse race in the world. It takes place August 4th through 13th of 2025, for example, this year, if anybody wants to sign up. The competitors race in the open country. It is a brutal sport. It covers 1,000 kilometers. Children learn to ride horses very early. So they're very young in age and they're taught to ride it. It's, again, essential to the survival. Now it's a very competitive, very extreme sport. Okay, so now the arts are, as you might assume, very heavily influenced by the ancestry. Due to their mobility, the arts had to be portable and easily mobile. So, so they had to make sure that they take it with them. Let's see. The Secret History of the Mongols is a famous poem describing Genghis Khan and the creation of the Mongol Empire. It is said that this story was hidden from others, from anybody else. The ancient art was found all over on saddles, on horse blankets, and religious temples. Performing arts are a great part of Mongolian ancient tradition. Modern day Mongolia has operas, plays, dancing, circus, etc. Modern day art is still heavily influenced by their ancestry. Here are my resources, and I hope you enjoyed my presentation. Thank you so much for your time.